Welcome, East Tennessee Democrats. It's really nice to be here with you. My name is Brad Batt. Thank you. Welcome to a town hall. Something we're not used to here in East Tennessee, right? Let me tell you a little bit about what's been going on in Tennessee politics, especially here in Washington County. If you don't know me, my most official title is State Committeeman. I'm on your state executive committee. We decide, chart the course of what our Tennessee Democratic Party does. I'll be on the ballot in August. I'd love to have your vote. And thank you. I'm also a second vice chair of the Washington County Party. We opened a headquarters last November. I hope you've been to it. If not, please come out to it. And we've been recruiting candidates. Did you see them all up here? Did you see all the candidates? And I want to let you know, I know we have a lot of different counties here and a lot of different parties organized at different levels. And I just want to keep going. The results of this candidate recruitment effort started 2 years ago with me and Sylvan sitting down and saying, let's run for state house and figure out some of this stuff, some of the mechanics of running with a goal to run commission candidates in all 15 districts in Washington County. 4 years ago, we had 2. Now we have 14. 14 Democrats. 14 proud Democrats running as Democrats, saying, I am a Democrat, here are my values, I live here in East Tennessee, and I'll be damned if you're going to trample on my rights and take hard-fought rights away from me, my family, and people I care about. If you're one of those county commissioner candidates, please stand up right now. Cindy Humphrey, Amanda Bacon, Sarah Lepowski, Ashley Cavender, Daniel Kutchel, Lori Succo, and Kitty Allen. Kathy Carr, thank you. I am so proud, y'all go meet these people if you don't already know them. A lot of you probably do. They are members entrenched in our community. And they're fighting, and I'm so glad for them to run as candidates and to represent me and all the Democrats in this area. So please give them another round of applause. I appreciate that so much. And we're here tonight to hear from 4 candidates that are sitting behind me running for the 1st Congressional District in East Tennessee. And I love the 1st Congressional District. I was a delegate in 2016 for Bernie Sanders. My wife was a delegate for Biden, and then the first pledge delegate to pledge for Kamala in 2024. So I'm very proud of the Democratic values we stand for here, and I know y'all stand with me on that. And we're here because we have a representative who doesn't do these town halls. She did one, and boy, it was a failure. Several of us were there, and I want you to listen to what she said at her town hall, where you're supposed to be gathering opinions of your constituents. Can we give a listen to that?
Listen. Well, listen to me. I want you to listen. Listen to me. You need to hush. Sit here and listen. Listen to me. Well, listen. You have to listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. The January 6th gardens. Listen.
I mean, I'm sorry. And I was looking up here because thank God for our Gen Z video editors. I love the red. I'm not sure everyone's listening, so can we just play it one more time because I want to watch y'all to make sure. Are you listening?
Listen. Well, listen to me. I want you to listen. Listen to me. You need to hush. Sit here and listen. Listen to me. Well, listen. You have to listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Wilfred, will you please come up and lead us in the pledge?
I was going to ask everybody to stand, but it looks like everybody that can is standing. So if you would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. I'm Terrell Yates, and I've had the great honor to introduce our congressional candidates. And the first one we've got is Dave Kerr. And Dave is from Danbridge. He is a retired U.S. Marine Master Sergeant and a small business owner. And he says he is focused on serving working families, veterans, and rural Tennesseans. He runs on transparency, economic fairness, and health care. Give a warm welcome to Dave Kerr.
I don't think I'll probably end up taking the whole 4 minutes, but I just wanted to introduce myself, and we've got a great thing here. It's called choice, right? And that's something that the other side wants to take away from us, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running, is because my 21-year-old daughter could now get pregnant, and because Republicans don't know biology or science, she could die with a child inside of her that is dead, and that's not cool. And we should be better. We should protect our women as men. And so that's why I'm standing up. It took me a while to get back to Tennessee. As you said, I'm a retired Marine, so I've spent a lot of time overseas. I went to Iraq and Afghanistan. So I've seen what dictatorships look like and what they leave behind. And I see that we're going towards that now. I'm not here to scare you, because that's their side. They want you to be afraid of everything. I don't want you to be afraid. I just want you to be informed, right? Well informed. And how do we do that? Well, we have to now, as a body of Democrats, go out and tell our brethren, our Tennessee brethren, our brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, my mother, all matter. But why? What did they do to them? And this is something we forget, and this is how we yell at them a lot, right? We forget that they were duped, right? Some of us in this room were duped. I was duped as well, right? But we got to bring it back. We got to bring it back, and how do we do that? And we've been talking about this a lot. It's not with hate, because what do they have? What do they have plenty of? Hate. They hate everything about you. They hate everything about me. But then when you say, oh, well, I'm a United States Marine, retired, it doesn't compute. It makes them take a step back, right? Because there's no way I should believe in what I believe in, because I serve, right? And so what I've been telling these people is, don't thank me for my service anymore. Go vote. That's your only right that you have. You can put the Bill of Rights in front of me all day long, but when you put somebody in office who doesn't care about those, you don't have them. So you start putting people in office that care about those things. And that's what we're all for here, trying to show you. Like, we're all going to show you leadership in some form or fashion or another, right? And that's up to you to decide who's going to be your representative to bring you up, right? But we also have to remember that we have to bring people over, because we can't win by ourselves. We know this. It's a hard reality. It's been Republican held since when? 1880 or 1861 is some of the stuff out there. That was the last time it was held by any kind of somebody outside of the Republican Party. The Republican Party to them still has something, still has some gumption, still means something to them. But you got to tell them how much your stuff means to you. Like, they talk about Christianity like they know it. They don't know it, folks. If they did, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be running. There's plenty of people for that. But I've seen that we've taken advantage of our own people here in East Tennessee just by by just getting on that heartstring, that male bravado heartstring that they've been trying to make us say it's okay to get out. But it was never okay to get out, guys. Put it back in the closet. Real men stand up. They don't have to argue all the time. They don't have to fight all the time. But they gotta listen, and that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do, is listen to see what you need. You need roads, you need health care, you need all kinds of things besides transgender care. That's the only thing that she cared about enough to put her name on in 6 years, guys. In 6 years. How many East Tennesseans does that affect? Quite a few, but not the majority, right? But they're restricting it. They took the time to restrict it even further. Oh, you're up here. I gotta go. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. He's a hoot. He comes out on People Street. We really enjoy him coming all the way here from Dandridge. Next, I'm going to introduce Herman Garcia. And Herman is originally from Texas. And if you've ever had Tennessee tamales, that is who he is. He's an activist. He is also a veteran. And he's a wonderful person. He's part of the Washington County Democratic Party. And also I see him at a lot of our things. And so if everybody could give a big hand to Herman Garcia.
I had a big speech. I was going to talk about the difference between us and the chicken. But this morning I woke up, found out that we're at war. And one of the things that I learned is that we killed 85 little girls, 7 to 12-year-olds. 85. Is that who we are? No. Is that who we are? And this president wanted a Nobel Peace Prize. He wanted to have the people give him a prize for a suggestion that he ended wars. Well, like I said, good luck with that one. But my thing is that now that we are at war, how can we stop it? What can we do to change this? Oh, we already have one of the aircraft carriers got hit today. One of the bases in Bahrain got hit today. That means we're going to have soldiers coming back in body bags. How do we stop it? Monday, I need everybody. I don't care who. You tell your neighbors, you tell everybody. Call your congressional representatives. On Tuesday, they are going to make a resolution to stop this war. We need everybody on Monday to call their representatives to make sure that we stop this. We do not need another war. But beyond that, we need another plan of action. And that plan starts with this. We need to vote. We need to make sure that everybody in this area is registered to vote. We need to make sure that your neighbors, your friends, your family, everybody votes. Because without that vote, it doesn't matter what happens in November. If they win again, this is going to continue. They violate the Constitution every single day. This war is a violation of the Constitution. And that is something that we need to make sure that we have an administration that once again respects the rule of law. We cannot continue like this as Americans. I got asked a couple times this week, well, you know they're going to probably put ice at the polls. You know that maybe they're going to have some kind of military at the polls. Are you going to be willing to go and vote? You know what I said? Hell yes. I am not afraid to vote. I don't care how many people they put on that poll, and I will make sure that I let them know the Constitution grants me the right to vote. They will not take that away from me. So I want everybody to raise their hands. Who is going to vote? If you know somebody that is afraid, because this is scary times. If you know somebody that is afraid, send them to me. I'll be more than happy to accompany them. I'll go with them. Because we need to make sure that everybody is reassured that in these times, these troubled times, we can make it through. But we have to vote. So if everybody can get the time, take a picture of this. Make sure that you register to vote. Make sure that you have that in your phone so that anybody else that you know of that is not registered to vote, all you gotta do is show them that image of the QR code, and it takes maybe 2 minutes to register. We can do that. We can do that. We can flip this county, because this county is 33% Republican, 33% Democrat, and 33% non-voter. Non-voter. That means that those 33% that don't vote, we got to work on them. We got to make sure that they stand up for our rights and that they go to the polls and vote. Once again, Herman Garcia, House of Representatives. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Christy Burke. Christy lives in Greene County. She's a community organizer and an artist. She paints murals. She has been very, very active in activism. She got hauled out of Diana Harshbarger's town hall last year. That was the first time I ever met her. She's a YouTuber, and it's all on YouTube. So everybody put their hands together for Christy Burke.
Hey y'all, my name is Christy, and I am running to represent you here in District 1. It has been a year since Diana Harshbarger stood in front of her own constituents, and she shushed us, and she talked down to us. It's been 1 year since I was removed from that town hall for refusing to sit quietly while she lied to our faces. And many of you were there, and you watched as your elected representative demanded respect that she had never earned while selling you out to Trump and her corporate donors. She commanded silence and submission, and she thought we were all just going to sit down and take it. But look around, Diana. That didn't work, did it? When I was driving back from that town hall, I thought, if this is what representation looks like in East Tennessee, we all deserve so much better than this. And today, what we have here is not just a town hall. This is a correction. This is what democracy looks like when the people stop asking for permission. Because we're not asking for a better future. We are not asking for health care and fully funded education. We are not asking to impeach Trump and the entire fascist regime. We are not asking to abolish ICE and to hold DHS accountable for their crimes. We are demanding it. Your liberties by reaching across the aisle and playing nice with people who are actively trying to take your liberties from you. You defend your liberty by standing strong in your values and refusing to back down and refusing to submit. When we say healthcare is a human right, when we say no child should ever go hungry, when we say workers should earn enough to thrive, When we say immigrants should not be treated like criminal aliens, they should be treated like human beings. And when we say that we don't want federal agents in our streets murdering our neighbors, these are not radical ideas. These are basic human values that we should all have. And the fact that it feels so radical to say shows us just how far we've drifted in America. And we need to change that. We need to change course. But the good news is that this is not a red district. This is a non-voting district. And the reason people don't show up to vote is because they don't feel like they have people who show up for them. But when we get trusted members of our community to step up and represent the people, people will show up to vote. They will. And they will overwhelmingly vote for progressive candidates who not only talk the talk or chalk the chalk, but walk the walk. If you guys send me to Washington, I will never shush you. I will not hide from you. Because this seat does not belong to a corporate donor. It does not belong to a party. It doesn't belong to Trump. It belongs to you, District 1. This seat belongs to you. So, make sure you're registered to vote, okay? What we're going to do is we're all going to work together and we're going to make them nervous. We're going to make them accountable. We're going to make them listen to us because we're too loud to ignore. And we're going to make history. When we show up in November, we flip this district blue and we take our country back from
Our last candidate is Kevin Jenkins. Kevin is from Sneedville, and he ran against Diana Harshbarger in 2024, and he has already stepped up once for us. Thank you. So if you could give a nice round of applause to Kevin Jenkins.
All right, John. How are you guys doing today? Good. It's great to see all these lovely faces. So I'm Kevin Jenkins. I just want you guys to answer one question for me, all right? Have any of you or anybody that you know been affected in these last couple of years? You know, let's just say your rent prices have gotten higher. Maybe you're no longer on health care, can't afford food. Money's just a little tighter, right? Well, as our Representative Diana Harshbarger should be doing, looking out for us. Would any of you guys personally say that you feel represented by her? No! Yeah, I can say the same. But that's going to change. So, as our Declaration of Independence has said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are unalienable rights. Now, what we need to do is protect our life, liberties, and our pursuit of happiness. However, it doesn't just start at the polls. It all starts here. It all starts inside of these town halls. It all starts inside of our communities. You know, Tennessee, very divided state. I can say from personal experience and working at the firehouse, you got some people on the left, you got some people on the right. There's a very big gap in between. But we need to work together. I know it might be hard. I know you might look at some people and just think, what the hell are you talking about? But now is the time for us to stand together more than ever, all right? We need to work inside of our communities, organize, create groups, host events much like this, let our voices be heard. But it's not just about, talking the talk. As Christy said, we have to do action. We have to put in work. What I need from you guys, go out there. I need you all to spread the word. Not just of me, all these other lovely candidates. I need you guys to organize events, organize marches, protests, rallies, call Diana Harshbarger's office, post videos, do anything you can. I know in Sneedville, I currently work with the school. Right now we're building a greenhouse. We're hosting an event to raise money. They need some more supplies for their school. They got $6 million. It just magically disappeared in 2 weeks of them getting it. So what we need to do, guys, is band together. I know times are tough. It seems like the government is trying to tear us all apart. But I believe in freedom. I believe in democracy. I believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not just for me, not just for you, because you're on the left. I believe for the people on the right. I believe for the people that are not citizens of this country. I believe it goes for everybody. So I just want you all to stand here. Think about what you can do to make your voices heard inside of your community. What you can do to help spread awareness that this is not just a fight, left versus right, but this is a fight of corruption. This is a fight from the bottom to the top, and that we aren't going to sit here and take this abuse. We're not going to sit here and be slaves to the corporations, not just let our representatives gather all the money and just let our lives be awful. I hope you all are willing to fight with your words, march through the streets, and let's actually, make this country great again. So.
Hi again, everyone. Right back. I have an addendum. One of the great things about being successful in candidate recruitment, I was so excited about the county commission, and I still am. We have some other candidates here. Mary Grace, is she still here? Mary Grace, running for Washington County School Board. Also, Ryan Berkeley in the front row running for Johnson City School Board. And right next one, Sylvan Bruni running for Johnson City Commission. Also, sometimes a donkey. It's great to be a Democrat. It's great to be an East Tennessee Democrat. It's great to be a red state Democrat. Blue state Democrats have it easy. They don't understand what it's like to fight sometimes. What are you pointing at? Oh, Lori Love is running for Tennessee State Executive Committee. Yes, thank you. You're not on the sheet, so. Oh, and Tennessee State House. I didn't know. Excellent. Representative Behn needs allies. I was going to say, who are you running for?
County Commissioner, District 8 in Carter County.
Carter County, District 8. Wow. Lisa, are you running? Who wants to run for State House? Who wants to challenge Rusty Crowe? We need someone to run against Rusty Crowe. We need someone to run against Tim Hicks. We need someone to run against Rebecca Alexander, who introduced legislation to sue your neighbor if they got an abortion. You could sue them. This is the kind of legislation that's being passed. So, Tennessee Democrats know how to fight. Red state Democrats know how to fight. They know what it's like to deal with a state house that is hostile to our citizens. It's hurtful, it's gross, it's corrupt. The Republican Party is full of abusers and enablers, and that's it. And this is a real nice resume, Aftyn Behn. I hope you all read it. It's really good. I'm very glad she's in the House. She ran a great congressional campaign. And yes. And both times beat experienced politicians in primaries, including in the congressional campaign, and then moved the needle 13 points. I think a strong indicator of not only that Democrats are gaining ground, but of the message that Representative Behn brings and that you'll be excited to hear today. And I'm happy to have known her from her organizing efforts for that in rural organizing, and I want you to understand that the efforts put in years ago is the payoff now, and the efforts we're putting in now, the payoff is coming. See the progress, see where we came from. It wasn't all, these are really fun, but a lot of the work is just behind the scenes, getting to, slowly advocating for things, quietly sometimes, loudly other times. And one of my favorite photos of the representative is before she was in the State House, when she's in the gallery, hanging on to the brass rail, yelling at the speaker because they would not do their job to get another sexual assaulter representative out of their house because they're apologists, they're abusers or enablers. So I'm glad our Democrats are fighters. I'm really excited to have Representative Behn here today from East Tennessee, and I know you're gonna hear a great message. I'm excited to hear it. So please give the biggest Tennessee Democrat welcome to Representative Aftyn Behn. So great to see you. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. When I think of my favorite person on the internet, I think of Brad Bad. I mean, you could not have a better shit poster than you. It's truly inspiring. Thank you for your work. Who's tired of living in unprecedented times? Whew. I am exhausted. First, I want to thank you all for not only your support throughout my entire career. I see a lot of faces from the old days when I was organizing with Indivisible and helping the Indivisible Tri-Cities group and running around outside Ballot Health. And I've been around the block a few times with a lot of you, and many of you have been here and have taken part in my career, and I'm so grateful. And then for those of you who didn't know me, pre-legislative days, I decided to run for Congress because when I do that, when I get pissed off, got really pissed off this year, and we moved the needle. As Brad alluded to, we moved a district from 22 points to 9 single digits. That was my goal, my personal goal, because Trump spent $7 million. And just last week, his political director, they were meeting pre-midterms to hash out who's gonna take what of the empire. And he said, candidly, she almost won. Talking about the 7th Congressional District. Yes. And he said it's because of the grassroots and the messaging. And what you all may not know is that the grassroots, it took a decade to build that infrastructure so that race could be competitive during a special election. And so for those of you that are just getting your feet wet with activism and advocacy and organizing this year, you have to roll up your sleeves and you have to commit to this, all right? Because that is what our state and this country requires in this moment. So a little bit about me, for those of you that don't know me, I do have my resume, but I thought I'd pull out a few years. So in 2016, I was working at the UN when Trump was elected the first time and decided that the fight was at home, so I moved back. And the first job, and I remember this, I took my parents out to eat at Aubrey's paper mill, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I wanna get involved in Tennessee politics. And my mom started crying so hard, she had to be escorted out of the restaurant. Not great. And so the first job I got was as a community organizer for a group called the Tennessee Justice Center, of which Pam Weston, who's here, worked to pass Medicaid expansion in 2017. Unfortunately, it failed. But I was hired to help expand Medicaid, but also during the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid cuts. And so I was running around the state. It was when I debuted my political theater. I dressed as, so Diane Black, the first Diane, was chair of the House Finance Committee during 2017, and she lived in a 10,000 square foot chateau in Sumner County, and proposed a budget as chair of the House Finance Committee to cut Pell, to cut SNAP, to cut Medicaid. So I decided to dress as Marie Antoinette in full regalia and call my character Diane Antoinette. And I would show up at campaign events that she was at while she was running for governor. And one particular moment, I remember being at a Waffle House in Wilson County, and I was like, oh my goodness, it is so good to be here to see my constituents, oh my goodness. And I remember the woman looking at me being like, oh my God, are you supposed to be Diane Black? That's hilarious. So I was running around in a wig, and I never wanted to run for office because I enjoy my life, and which leads me to 2023. And many of you, for those of you who want to be here for the long haul, whether you end up in prison or worse, I decided to wash my hands of Tennessee politics in 2023, January 2023. And I like to say that Tennessee politics is like the Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. So, those of us that live in Nashville, because of our proximity to the Capitol, when shit hits the fan, we're called in, right? And so, April of 2023, we had a school shooting, and the protests that erupted, I went on a leave of absence of work for 12 days and helped organize all of the protests and rallies outside of the Capitol. And the final night of the expulsions, I was responsible for the press conference. And so we had MSNBC and CNN and this beautiful backdrop across the Capitol of what I believe Tennessee is still to this day. And Italian national television was streaming in. Don't know why, but they were excited. They wanted to see what had happened. And I'm holding space for the Tennessee Three to come out and tell their entire stories to the world. And three of my colleagues tried to push past me to get to the spotlight. And I said, no, no one wants to hear from you all right now. And they said, step aside, little girl, this is for legislators. Cool. So I heard loud circus music and saw red and decided, you know what? Great. Don't tempt me with a good time, because don't underestimate me, because that'll be really fun for you. And so I decided to run for office for state house, and I run for office because an elected official, the capacity gives me the opportunity to organize. And so I get more proximity, I get more access, and I need the position to do the organizing I need to do to move the needle in Tennessee, like ending the grocery tax. And then in 2025, Nashville had a massive ICE operation, unprecedented, because your state highway patrol, unbeknownst to any state legislators, worked clandestinely with ICE to pull over 300 of our neighbors, including my constituents, who I saw were kidnapped out of their cars, put into trucks, and they're driven off with their vehicles. I decided to record a video, of which Andy Ogles then retweeted the video, called for my arrest. The Department of Homeland Security then retweeted the video and called for my arrest. That following Sunday, I was working at my office in Cordell Hull, and there was a knock at the door. It was the security officer, and he said, someone in a ski mask and gloves tried to follow you into the building. I need to escort you back to your car, and you need to leave the premises immediately. And it was really scary. And at the time, I'm one of the few elected officials in the South and in the country that has the skill sets and has been trained in organizing under authoritarianism. And I knew that when the authoritarians are coming for the municipality, like they were coming for our mayor, they were coming for our city, that it was a moment where we really needed to step up and be unified, and no one did anything. No one did anything. And then they all decided to run for Congress. So I was like, yeah, not on my watch. And so I ran for this race, and we knew it was going to be the last nationalized race in the entire country. I didn't think that Trump would call me smart and attractive, but I thought he was going to be like, she's not a real blonde, like Ivanka. Ivanka's a real blonde. But it was a worthy fight, and it was important for me because I come from the movement, and I knew that I would not sacrifice immigrants and trans kids at the altar of politics, which is what a lot of our politicians have been doing. And I could hold my own going on conservative talk radio and saying, immigrants are not the reason your grocery prices are high. Trans kids are the reason you can't afford a mortgage, right? And we moved the district 13 points, and all of that money spent against. It wasn't fun, but I'm grateful. And so the whole point of that story was I'm grateful for each and every one of you for all your support. I'm not going anywhere. Which brings me to this moment right now. So I thought, I told the candidates backstage. I'm the least fun person to invite to events right now. I was in the elevator in Cordell Hall, and there were these fourth graders, and their little mentor was like, oh my gosh, this is Representative Aftyn Behn. And this little kid looks up, and he's like, oh, hi, Representative Aftyn Behn, how are you doing? And I said, frothing fascism, kids, not good today, not good today. I just walked out. Not fun. But I'm a pragmatist, so what I thought I'd do is the good, the bad, the ugly, but we're gonna start with the ugly, okay? So we are watching a culminating moment of a 40-year-long political project, right, from the right, okay? And if we think about it in the long arc of history, the women's suffrage movement took 70 years, right? So we are at a moment where this last iterative project of the far right is gaining ground, and it's at its zenith. And so what we do next is gonna be important. I'm also an avid learner of history and authoritarian movements and anti-authoritarian movements and understanding social change. And Mark Twain said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, right? And if we look at the model of social change, and I highly recommend you look at it, as we saw during slavery, during abolition, during Reconstruction, we are at a moment of retrenchment, which means that the overreach is now being codified into law. Right? And that is what we are seeing in the state of Tennessee. That is what we are seeing federally. Unfortunately, the next part of this story is overreach. So the worst is yet to come. However, you all, what you are starting here, and I'm so proud of you all that you have fielded so many candidates. But this is not over, but it is cyclical, right? So we will come out of this when, I don't know. And so the bad, let's go to the bad. Oh my God, where to begin? Whew. Well, federally, we are now seeing 100 years of destruction that I don't know if we will be able to pull back. At the state level, we are seeing unconstitutional bills again and again, and the reason they file these unconstitutional bills is because they make their way through the conservative Sixth Circuit in an effort to undo your federally protected constitutional rights. So they are trying to rewrite the federal constitution through the Tennessee General Assembly, okay? Not to mention the slate of hate. 3 bills moving through the legislature. 1, trying to kick undocumented kids out of public school, which is being heard next week. 2, mandatory reporting of immigration status and names at your hospitals, schools, state and local agencies, coupled with 3rd, if you are not reporting those immigrants' names within 90 days, you are hauled to jail. No. So it is, we are in it. We are in it. And I say that because I experience it every day. And the reason for this just profound xenophobic, all of it, is because they don't have money to address the rising cost of living. They don't have money. They have eroded our corporate tax base, so there's no new revenue coming into the state of Tennessee, and they pretend that there's no other way to get out of this, right? And it's because they don't have money to fill potholes, to feed kids, and to fund our health care, right? So, what's the good? Well, all right, here we go. The pendulum is gonna swing. We are living in a second Gilded Age right now, okay? And what happened, if you all, and I love, I'm knee deep in the Depression and New Deal right now, because it is, we are here. We're entering a period of the candidates and the Democratic Party, if they can, rebrand themselves as the party of anti-greed and anti-corruption, will be successful, okay? And you all have the opportunity, right? A serial rapist was allowed to destroy your community because those in power wouldn't hold him accountable, right? And I'm gonna get into this, but you all have another opportunity with the BWXT, and we're gonna get into it, but these are the opportunities that you all have to start talking about our issues in a way that transcends party politics. Wedge issues, right? And so in authoritarianism, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build your coalition, okay? You're trying to build the infrastructure you need to defeat authoritarianism, broaden your coalition, and block the bad stuff, okay? So that is what you're trying to do, and that is what we are trying to do here. There's lots of wedge issues right now in which we can pull people to our side, right? And one of those issues is this week we launched a campaign to hold DCS accountable. And it was because a lot of conservative voting white families across the rural parts of the 7th Congressional District said, hey, I don't agree with Aftyn's politics, but I know she's a fighter, and this is an issue that really bothers us. We launched a petition on Tuesday. We've had over 300 families across the state sign it. These are issues that are affecting everyone, and the Republican supermajority doesn't have a remedy, right? They don't have a remedy. And I think the biggest pet peeve I have in politics is the acquiescence that nothing can be better, the lack of political imagination. Other states have legalized the recreational sale of marijuana and used it to fill potholes. That is something that has happened, and it's not magic. It's not magic. And so you all, especially, getting local, getting vocal, and that is the antidote to what we are facing in terms of hyper-nationalization, is localizing organizing efforts and getting vocal local, right? So I want to use the BWXT, say that 10 times fast, that's going to be a hard one for me, as a really helpful example, because I'm really interested in this right now. And as I was interested in the ballot health monopoly saga as well, you all are ripe kind of for these conditions in which I just elevated. So I wanted to talk about how there's the federal, state, and local power spheres, okay? So at the federal level, we've seen over the past decade a renewed push to renew or expand nuclear weapons capabilities, right? But now with the preface that you must accept local harm for global security, right? And you all know that's not true. You know that's not true. At the state level, they have prioritized defense and energy contracts and jobs at any cost type of development, right? Instead of, for example, like revitalizing our brownfields, which yields incredible economic benefits, they've put their money towards stadiums, private companies, and contaminating private nuclear waste facilities, right? And they also have removed local control. Who knows what state preemption is? Great, okay. So state preemption, we have the worst conditions for it in the country, is when the state government neuters your ability to do anything locally. And they are slowly doing that and have done it over the past 10 years to where your local officials are gonna look up and they have no power, right? And then at the local level, I was trying to ask you all a few questions about the organizing going on, but it sounds like your local electeds, they're not organizers. They're not kind of looking at this. This is a moment where they could build their constituencies. They could launch their platforms for state and federal office, right? But instead they're like, oh, well, this is how it's always been done, right? And you all there on the other side with disenchanted Republicans saying, no, it's not. We don't have to accept this. It's not inevitable. And so you all have the opportunity, really, you do, to show that caring for our communities over corporations is a great unifier. And that is the moment we're in. And this is what I thought you all should say in one of your public campaigns about it. If it's safe, then put it next to the mayor's office. Or wherever, insert note. So I'm gonna leave you on a hopeful note. I know I'm playful, but I've just been, it is rough out here. It is rough out here. I'm chronically burned out. But there's a famous civil rights organizer and pastor who started First Baptist Capitol Hill, which is a black church in my district, and his name was Kelly Miller Smith. And he was one of the great architects of the civil rights movement. And in one of his speeches in the Tri-Cities during the civil rights movement, when they were getting waterboarded and arrested and killed, he goes, we are doing this because we're stay tuned for another world. And that is what we have to believe, that another world is possible. And that is where we are. We are at a moment, as Robert Frost said, the road less traveled, we have to take it. And this country is ours if we want it. But it is not ours if we don't roll up our sleeves, if we don't do the dirty work day in and day out, okay? We can't just show up on social media. We can't just show up to one of these and go home and not be organizing, right? I have dedicated the last 10 years of my life to this state. I've had I have been exhausted. I am exhausted. I commit to seeing this political project through because I really do believe the pendulum will swing in the next decade, and I want to be part of that, right? But I need you all to step up and get involved. If you are not, now is your time. Now is better than ever, right? Because there's nothing that power disdains more than organized, articulate people. So, all right, with that, Brad.
If you have a question, just raise your hand, we'll bring you a microphone.
To the candidates, I know that being a member of Congress is often a moneymaker. So how can we hold you accountable? How will you hold yourselves accountable when that is a prospect in front of you? Because I feel like we have kind of lost faith in even our Democratic congresspeople as we see them making billions of dollars off of their roles.
30 seconds.
All right. Well, I would say, for one, to hold myself accountable, I don't take any money from corporations or anything. All my campaigning is grassroots funded. You know, it's funded by you guys giving me donations and whatnot. I have zero interest in bowing down to the corporations, APAC, anything like that. I want to bring back Congress working for the people and kind of dismantle the oligarchy that, you know, controls the United States.
Well, we got to get money out of politics. We got to get dark money out of politics. But when you're looking at candidates, I think it's really important to pay very close attention to where they're getting their money. You know, who is funding them? Where are they taking funds from? I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I know Kevin said, you know, he's not taking any PAC money. I've, you know, sworn to the same, no corporate PACs. I'm not interested in being beholden to corporate power or to certain special interests. I just want to represent the people. And so when you pay attention to how the campaigns are being funded, are they being funded by corporations? Or are they being funded by everyday people from your district that just that believe in you, believe in your vision? And I think that will tell you a lot about how they're going to run their, run when they get elected.
Interesting question to propose to me because I haven't received a single dime from anybody. I don't have a treasurer, so I can't take any money right now. I have to find myself a treasurer so that I can and start accepting funding. But when I do, I can tell you this right now, I'm individually driven, socially driven, community driven. I don't care about the corporations. Right now, I'm looking at ways that we can try to get rid of some of the corporations that are straining our economies right here. And it's important that we know who these corporations are, because they're the ones like BWXT, they don't care about what the consequences of their actions are. We need to make sure that they don't stranglehold our community, destroy our mountains, destroy our rivers, because we need to make sure that the generations after us have a safe environment to live in. So again, I'm not here to take money from corporations. I'm here for the community, and that's how I'll live. I pointed out when I first started thinking about running that I might run for one term, maybe two, and that's it. You hear that a lot from people that take other positions in Congress, and then once they're in Congress, they don't do it. But I can tell you this right now, I will make that promise. 2 terms, that's it for me. There's other people that can do it for after I leave.
Thanks, Herman. I don't know if you guys follow me on Facebook or not, but if you don't, you should probably get on there because, thanks for asking the question. I've already committed to giving, to living off the median income of East Tennessee in District 1, which is $60,000 and $500, something like that a year. So I'm only going to take that in as a congressperson if elected. The rest is going to 2 homes here. One will go to the Methodist home for children here in Greenville, I think it is. Yeah, and then the other one is the Sevier County Children's Home. So each of them will get $113,000 if I'm elected. But that's not, that's a commitment. That's not sentiment. I was asked by another constituent a couple weeks ago. It was something I was thinking about. He asked, would you be in support of a congressperson only getting paid what their median income is for their district? And so to answer his question, I countered that with, I'll live off of it. Doesn't mean my staff won't. I mean, they'll still get paid because they got to get me around. But at the end of the day, that I've committed to that. And as far as corporations go, you're not going to own me. It's just not going to happen.
Sorry, and just quickly, I never miss a learning opportunity. So in the state, Tennessee has been bought and sold to the highest bidder. We have all been sold out. And we call it the devil's bargain, where multinational companies like FedEx, Amazon, Google have lobbied themselves out of tax existence. So you are effectively paying a higher effective tax rate than multinational corporations. And in fact, this was corroborated by the Department of Revenue, of which Senator Charlene Oliver and I submitted an ask saying how many companies that reported over $1 billion of federal taxable income are paying zero in our state franchise and excise tax. It was 60%. So no wonder we don't have money for roads, right? And this is a pivotal moment because we have to be, if the Democratic Party wants to succeed, it has to be one of anti-corporate power moving forward, and that has to be a main anthem as we move forward. Yes, thank you.
Hi. My question is, so I've been calling Diana and our state senators weekly, especially the past few weeks. But what are ways that we can organize here locally more, other than the No Kings protest? What are ways that we can get people to vote since we don't vote? What are ways that we can organize and speak out more to get people to vote and to be more well-informed?
Yeah, I love that question. I'm going to provide some context. My radicalization journey was one of, I showed up, I was calling, I was showing up to their offices, I was bird dogging them at town halls, right? And nothing changed. Although, I will say, we forced the retirement of like 5 congressmen from In fact, Senator Bob Corker, as he was leaving office, said, I don't want to run because I don't want those little women following me around everywhere. So we did that. But I was in the seat as a lobbyist for Medicaid expansion, as a community organizer, begging our elected officials at the state to expand Medicaid. And they're like, we're not going to do it. We know it's good for our district. We're not going to do it because we think it's a liberal policy because it was sponsored by a black man. Like, okay, well, I'm going to learn how to unseat you. So I then learned everything I could about running campaigns, right? And then I found out, Tennessee's an electoral autocracy. So every time they celebrate winning a district by 75 points, it's like Kim Jong-un celebrating an election every time he wins. Like, you've created the maps, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, there's 4 competitive House seats in the entire district. That's the map that they created, right? Like, those are our only pickup opportunities. Okay, well, if we're outspent 4-1, if the maps are rigged, like, what am I gonna do? And I ended up running for office, and I tell you, I have been more successful as a state legislator in my organizing efforts than any of those previous roles, because I'm in the building, I'm in their faces, I'm playing chess, like 3-dimensional chess with the Republican supermajority, right? To try to push the needle to draw a contrast to their platform. Now, what you can do locally to organize. One of the things, and I know it's hard, and I know it's hard in rural communities, but people are struggling, and we are the most insulated and divisive we have been in a very long time, and there's no kind of set reality. And so something that was very helpful in my campaign, I'm a door knocking, canvassing evangelist, because in the 7th congressional race, when they were playing commercials about me every day that I hate the city that I represent, we would knock on the door, and it was immediately inoculating against the misinformation and disinformation that was being promulgated by the far-right media ecosystem. So canvassing is always good, and you don't just canvass right for election time. You canvass around issues, like the issues you all are facing. I think you have a big community meeting on March 23rd, I think. Go out and knock your neighborhood and be like, hey, did you know this is happening? How do you feel about it? Don't say anything about partisan politics, but local issue organizing is how you inoculate against a lot of this stuff. And then I'll say, like, the stronger we are, you all, you've got a lot of great candidates, but like getting involved in Republican primaries, it's a great pastime of mine. Because we need more. The problem is in the state house, like, you just have, and it's the true, a lot of times in primaries, like, the most motivated voters on either side are the ones that turn out. But if I could just get, we have like anti-voucher Republicans, right? And they're just, millions of dollars are being spent against them right now by the right. And so if we could just get more Republicans that are, anti-ballot health or anti, whatever the I can never say it. What is it? BWXT. If we could get more of that, like that's a way to build more of a consensus. And then organizing statewide, like getting involved in statewide campaigns so that you all can be more connected across the state.
Great. Terry, you have someone on your side? The couple of resource notes, because you mentioned corporate greed and corruption. Open Secrets is a great resource to know what the incumbent politicians, where they're getting their money from. Open Secrets and Follow the Money. A couple of resources.
And at the state level, we have Cash for Clout. So Adam Freeman works for the Tennessee Lookout. He's a reporter and also a constituent. And he created a Cash for Clout database where you can see at the state level who's accepting money from whom. And it's really, really helpful.
Hi there. I'm just kind of curious. I know some of the, one of the main famous projects out of Nashville at the moment might have hit a stall with that big old tunnel.
Tunnel time!
I did hear, the sales pitch was it pays for itself. It pays for itself. It's going to lower traffic on the main road, stuff like that. I'm skeptical. I lived there a few years. It was crowded, potholes, might, total your car, stuff like that. If that doesn't happen to be paid for and goes through, is that like Department of Transportation money? I know we're fixing the roads around here now. Mayor Pete for the win, by the way. But how would that kind of have a trickle-down lack of funding as far as we're fixing some of the bigger roads here now, but our town still needs it?
Yeah, and I'm going to start at the 30,000-foot view. So, we are living through a period of these tech oligarchs, and one of my favorite thought leaders, Naomi Klein, who wrote a book called Disaster Capitalism. You all should absolutely read it if you haven't, especially as you've endured the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. And she talks about, in an article she wrote for The Guardian, about how the end project of the far right is tech fascism, where the tech oligarchs are building feudal cities, right? We've already been there. It's called coal mining companies, right? And that's the end project. And so in my house district, Oracle has just, declared a few years ago that they're building their world headquarters there, right? Well, what is that going to be? You all, data centers in the next 10 years, it's data centers or democracy, right? But these tech overlords have been handed the keys to our state and our city, including Elon Musk. And so the state of Tennessee, without even, we didn't see any paperwork, they didn't bring us into the conversation. In fact, they are circumventing the entire system by creating a underground airport authority that only the state has control over, not Nashville, right? And so I really want to create shirts that say I went to the Tennessee legislature and all I got was gaslit, because it is one massive experiment in gaslighting. So what's going to happen? The state has given, millions, billions of dollars over to these tech oligarchs in the form of corporate tax incentives, right? And then they're using our infrastructure. They're not paying taxes, right? They're not giving back to our communities. But in this particular instance, it's particularly heinous because it's like, hey, why don't we just invest in buses? Like, hey, can we get a light rail? It's like, no. We're gonna have mole people, and we're gonna build 40 feet beneath Tennessee limestone. I'm like, bro, it's not happening. It's not happening. So what I predict, and you all can, maybe I was a betting woman, I bet on it. I think they're gonna hit a nerve, and I think a major development downtown is gonna implode, and it's gonna be billionaires fighting billionaires at that point. This is a long-term arc of them trying to privatize public infrastructure with the goal of just squeezing every last ounce out of our state and our communities.
Right here. It's our turn on this side.
Hello, and thank you for being here. This is my first time going to a town hall in this area. I'm very excited to be here. Very good vibes here. a little bit of a preface here. I am an immigrant here in Eastern Tennessee. I've been living here for over 2 decades, so have me and my family. I am very involved in the immigrant community here, and really my question is, can I get a commitment out of everyone here to support abolishing ICE?
Well, I think that's a very clear answer. Yes. Screw ICE, in case anybody was wondering. 100%, it's gone.
Thank you for coming. I want to tell you that, yes, I absolutely believe that ICE needs to go. I think that they are way past the point of needing to go, and they're not a new organization. They were only created so that they could treat immigrants like they are a threat, and immigrants are not a threat. Immigrants are human beings who are not even as likely to commit violent crimes as U.S. citizens, and so they're a scapegoat. They're a way for them to make us angry at you so they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. So ICE has got to go, and we need to hold Kristi Noem and every single person at DHS accountable for their crimes. Absolutely.
Before I came here to this meeting today, I went to a restaurant, and I handed the owner of the restaurant 10 Know Your Rights cards because they were just opening up, and they had immigrants working in their kitchen. And before I could honestly say that, I did not want to see them be arrested simply because they're immigrants. So I went by there, gave them the cards, and the lady thanked me, of course, and she said that she would contact me if she needed more. I do this almost every day. A lot of you that follow me know that I do this every day. At No Kings, I passed out almost 1,000 in Know Your Rights cards. I have been doing this since even before this ICE started going out. I made a call about Greenville, for those that were in Greenville that came here. Greenville decided to put out a project that they were going to teach immigrants how to drive safely. They wanted to make sure they knew that the immigrant community in Greenville could drive a car. When the ACLU decided, hey, why are you only going after the immigrants with this class? How come you're not teaching other people how to drive a vehicle? Because after all, everybody on the street is not an immigrant, and there are wrecks almost every single day. So why is this class not being taught to everybody? When that was put out, Greenville decided the pressure was too great, and they stopped this class. And that was basically like the first month that the Orange Clown was in office, that Greenville did this. They thought, we'll have support from the national level. I have been fighting for the rights of immigrants here in this community almost since I've been here 8 years. Last year, Sexton decided he wanted to deport 8 immigrants, charge them with crimes. I sat through the court. I sat through it. And the judge threw it all out because there was not a single evidence. Nothing to say that these 8 Hondurans were criminals. But the sheriffs, they said, Sexton said, I was there. I saw it myself. They were stealing. I'll say, okay. I told Sexton, I said, okay. If that's true, how come they didn't ask you to testify in court? If it was true that you saw them physically taking stuff out of a house, why didn't you go out there testify in court? He couldn't respond because he was lying to me. And that's the kind of things that we face every single day. It's people in power that lie and are committing crimes against our community of immigrants. Thank you.
I too support taking ICE down. Anytime an organization loses the nation's trust like that, they need to be taken out. And I would say that about the Marine Corps too, and most of you know how I feel about the Marine Corps. So if they were doing that to American citizens, I would be asking for the Marine Corps to be going down too. So that's how I feel about it.
And I'll just add that abolishing ICE means nothing if you are not organizing locally to stop the brutality. You all have a 287G agreement. How many of you know what the 287G agreement is? A lot of you don't. So it allows your sheriff's office to be deputized as ICE agents, and a lot of people are being deported through that, right? Not only that, but come to find out, so the Memphis Safe Task Force, which was initiated by Trump, came to find out that the Tennessee Wildlife and Resource Agency was engaged in immigration enforcement. So they showed up in my committee and I was like, hey guys, I thought y'all were just like arresting fat raccoons. Like, what? This is, I mean, we have truly, we are here, we are in it, right? And so you all have to be organized locally to resist this. It doesn't, we are so far away from DC, and watching what is happening in Minneapolis and Minnesota, right? Those moms, those white ladies are outside those immigrant schools 16 hours a day, making sure those kids get safely home. They've organized grocery runs, right? So because a lot of your immigrant neighbors haven't left the house in 6 months, right? That is what it's going to take. The antidote to authoritarianism is connectivity and local organizing, okay? So please don't forget that.
Aftyn, just very quickly before I get to my question, I appreciate some of the things you chose to name in your speech. A large number of my friends organized for you, and I appreciate your work over the years. And that's actually related to the question I want to ask the local candidates. If you get elected, you'll be one vote in a 435-member body, representing the most Republican, one of the most Republican districts in the I don't want a representative who just listens to me and sends me home. I want one who works with me. Listening alone doesn't build power. What specific relationships do you have with existing grassroots organizations in this district now? And how would you leverage those relationships to create a durable political power for working people in this district?
Oh my God, if I could kiss a question. I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, that was a great question. So as far as the local communities that I've reached out to so far since starting my campaign, which was on January 9th when you pick up your petitions, we've reached out. Obviously, I got way deep with Indivisible, which I was, before meeting you guys in this district, I was going down in Knoxville and trying to beat down those doors. Wasn't saying I was like a leader there or anything like that, but we all had to start somewhere. And that's where I started, was at the No Kings protest in Knoxville. And then when I decided to run, I found out, oh my God, there's a whole nother part of the mountains that that we've been, neglecting. And so I stopped going to Knoxville's protest, and now I'm up here with you guys. How do I plan to leverage all of this? I mean, right now, all of us sitting here are leveraging each other, just to give you a choice. And we're going to continue to leverage that throughout the entire region here. And I'm not going to speak for them, but I know that I'm going to fight for you no matter what. I've always been an underdog in my life, so that's what I do. I know how to speak against power, if that's what one of the questions I felt like was being asked. Is I was a Marine for 20 years. There's a lot of commanders that told me to do a lot of crazy things. And as a senior enlisted guy, I had to tell them, no, they can't do that. It breaks the law. So.
Anybody that knows me knows that I come from Texas, and while there in Texas, I was part of so many different activist groups, Black Lives Matter, LGBT groups, I was part of Cop Watch, which I'm using some of that knowledge to use for Ice Watch. I was part of Normal, although I am highly allergic to marijuana, but I was still a member of Normal, National Organization Reformation of Marijuana Laws. In fact, I was their main organizer. I did 13 420 festivals. The most bands that I had at one festival was I had 65 bands playing on one day. So yes, I have been an organizer. I have been doing things for community almost all my life. And that's not going to change. And once I do get in office, I will make sure that all those that have a voice, that have a need, have somebody in Congress that will listen. Right now, Chicken here, she doesn't listen to nobody. I don't care what the need is, Republican or Democrat, she doesn't listen to nobody. But I will listen. And again, I am here to listen to all concerned because I am concerned about community. I am concerned about the environment. I was part of the tar sands group that worked against getting tar sands go through Texas. So again, I know a little bit about activism.
A little over a year ago, I was just making YouTube content, minding my own business. I had my progressive values, but I was a lot like probably many people here and in this district that just felt very apathetic, felt like I was living in an area where my vote didn't matter, I didn't have any power. And then when Trump was elected, I was like, we have to do something. And so I started using my platform to encourage people to get more engaged and to pay attention. And I realized that I couldn't just stay on the internet talking about it, that I actually had to get out in the streets and I had to do the work. I had to meet people that were like-minded and we had to get together and we'd actually make the change that we wanted to happen instead of just talking about it. And so I've spent the last year working with Indivisible and organizing, going to protests, developed my own chalk protests for the last, 7, 8 months that's still running outside of Diana Harshbarger's office. And I've realized that there's so many of us in this district that have the same values, those same progressive values. We just have to find one another and we have to work hard and we have to stand firm in those values. And so while I believe that when you're in politics, when you're in government, you gotta negotiate, you gotta work together, I think the reason we are where we are today is because Democrats didn't stand up and stand for their values and stick to the very things that they're fighting for. And so my goal is to stand for those values and to stand with my community to keep them engaged and keep them working toward a better future.
All right. So for me, myself, I am the head chair for the Democratic Party over in Hancock County. Over there, we're doing a lot of projects. We're trying to work with the school, build a greenhouse. Over inside of Jefferson City, I work with the fire department. Right now, I'm currently trying to get them to, open up some classes for the public, teach them a little first aid, a little bit about, fire extinguishers, everything like that. I've worked with a lot of the Democratic parties inside of our district. I worked with Christie. We actually set up the march. But I believe that we should be trying to give back to the communities. Currently, I'm trying to get in contact with a lot of the fire departments here. I've talked to a couple housing companies, trying to see what they would need to, feel a bit more comfortable trying to build starter homes as one thing that I've encountered just by talking to them. They don't feel that it's worth their time. They don't feel that they get enough money out of it. So it's just a lot of starting at the bottom, starting locally inside of the towns, inside of the counties, anything like that. Just working with these companies, just talking to people, trying to educate people, whether that's getting them more civically engaged, teaching them more valuable skills to be able to help themselves or help other people. But ultimately, I believe that it starts with trying to help you guys, trying to help the future generations, getting them registered to vote, letting them know the importance of voting and protecting their civil rights and duties, So I believe it all starts small, locally, and then we just expand from there.
Thank you.
We've got time for one question.
Sorry, can I add one more thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it'd be one question for Aftyn.
I'll be very quick. Nothing bothers me more, and hear me out, than someone rolling out of bed, deciding to run for office, and then feeling entitled that everyone should get behind them after not doing any of the work, okay? And I say that because I have spent a decade. I showed up at Ballad Health and sat with Danny Cook as she was camped outside. I brought resources into the state. I have been organizing, showing up to funerals, showing up to community banquets, and I show up. And the candidates that come from the community and are heavily invested, and as a state legislator, I believe in an ethos of co-governance, right? And this is really important because I've heard a lot about representation and representative democracy. Co-governance is when you co-govern with the groups that are. And what people don't understand about the 7 for 4 months to try to get me elected, I came from them, right? And they know, and they even then, I had to go into their meetings with their members and ask and face really tough questions in order to get endorsed so that I could leverage their assets and resources, right? And that relationship is so important because it goes both ways. And that is what we need more of. We need people who are invested and beholden to the groups, not the corporate donors, right? Not the PACs, but the groups, the community groups that got you there. And for me, it's the power building groups in the state of Tennessee. And so I had to get that off my chest. Thank you.
One last question for you, Aftyn. I really appreciate you today for speaking to a concerned electorate, and I also appreciate you for being here today. My question is, in the election cycle of the year 2000, Al Gore gained 47% of the electorate in Tennessee. Do you believe Tennessee could still be competitive within 1 to 2 election cycles?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was just going over this. I mean, I'm an electoral pragmatist, and this is after me trying to flip one state House seat for 8 years in Memphis. Hopefully this is the year we do it. I believe it. House District 97. Jesse, if you're watching, this is the year we do it. Let me just humor me. We have to understand, we cannot base our success on electoral outcomes in the state of Tennessee. You will be perennially disappointed. Okay? You cannot say, okay, if Jerry Green doesn't win or if Gloria doesn't win, I'm done. I'm done. That's not how this works, right? Tennessee is a culminating project of the worst forces in American history. Well, not worse than slavery or Reconstruction, women's suffrage, we'll get into it. But we are in the middle of it, right? And so please, 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 like your local, how connected you are, you need to have success barometers and metrics that are different than electoral outcomes, because we are not in a place where we are going to have electoral wins, massive electoral wins. My seat moving 13 points was a huge deal. And you guess how much money I raised? $3 million. It was a nationalized race, right? But it's an aberration. So we will be in a place, but the work starts now, right? You have to start organizing, and you have to wake up every day and get your hands dirty again and again. But I do think the pendulum will swing, and I think it'll be probably in the next 6 to 8 years. And that's when I will run for higher office. Well, Terrell, give it up for Terrell and the squad.
I do want to take a few minutes to thank a whole bunch of people, because it is so true that, I get a lot of praise. Honestly, I'm just sitting at my computer most of the time freaking out. And I have people who do what I ask them to. And that's really what it's about. And so, for example, we had Kathy and Nina, 2 Ninas, and Dawn and Missy, who checked you all in today, and that's important because that made us feel safe. You watched that clever video of Diana Harshbarger? That was made by Ammon, who's up there on the spiral staircase. He's got some real skills, I'll tell you. Matthew you just do this. He's the guy that ran our, and I didn't have to do it. Which meant I slept last night. Bob and Noel, as always. And I'd like to introduce our super donkey for today, and our chicken. And the costume for the chicken is Kitty, who I don't want her to stand, but she's sitting up here. One of the hardest workers is Cindy Humphrey. She does whatever you ask her to do, and it's amazing. And we love you, Cindy. The programs, the beautiful programs, were made by Chelsea, our secretary with Washington County Democratic Party, and I think they're lovely. I probably left somebody out, which is why I don't like to do this, but I have decided that's really a poor excuse not to thank people. So one of the things I want to do is, every time I get the microphone, is to start pointing out specific people, and I did that last week at the Find Your People event. And today, I'd like to recognize Wendy. Yes, if you come on up, she knows who she is. Come here, Wendy, I've got something for you. Wendy is one of those people that is at everything. And she never toots her own horn. She's there to toot other people's horn. She fills in the gap. This week she says, Terrell, what is it you need me to do Saturday? Well, of course I did. And of course she's here because she speaks fluent Terrell. And if you know me, you understand. I happen to know her very well from about 9 years of postcard writing, and so I happen to know she will like this gift. Let me tell you, that makes postcard writing so much more fun. And with Carol, thank you for all you do. It's very important. Thank you. I'm not good at that. Sylvan's coming up to close us out with a call to action, and afterwards I hope that you'll hang around and shake some hands.
All right, hello friends. Hello friends. Friends, let's get some energy. We have another decade to go forward. Remember what's been said, right? So let's get this going. My name is Sylvan. I'm the chair of the Washington County Democratic Party. It's such a privilege to be here and see a full room of folks. I'm also part-time super donkey. Thank you for inviting me again for this. Also a candidate for Johnson City Commission. We're going to fight the corruption there. We're going to make sure that we have city commissioners who are fighting for us, not for those greedy corporations who are trying to destroy our neighborhoods with crypto, BWXT, with the chemicals and all of that. So that is a priority for all of us to work on. I want to really thank you, our guest of honor, Aftyn, Representative Behn. Another round of applause, please. Thank you so much for your courage, for coming here and showing us how it's done, giving us true words by which we can live and fight here every single day. You speak truth to power, you also speak truth to us, to your constituents as well, and we salute you for doing that because it is showing us how we are going to win here, how we can win. So thank you very, very much again for being here. We will turn the tide in the next decade, I am sure of it. You've heard a lot about how it takes many, many years to organize and build the infrastructure. Well, here in Washington County, we've been at it for a long time. And I would say we're already at least half the way through. We've been working so hard to build everything that the candidates you've heard from, including those on the stage here today, will rely on for this particular cycle, but also for the next cycle. and the one after that. But I will say, we are only halfway there. We need more, and we need all of you to continue being involved. Number one, when you see all of these signs here, I'll take this one, for example, that's totally breaking my heart. How can this be the truth in Tennessee? That we have so many children dying. And the Republicans who've been in office for 15 years have done nothing about this. We have to solve this. To solve that, we need to have Democrats on the ballot. We need to have Democrats who go door to door and talk about the reality of our communities and of our state. So please, we are still looking for candidates for State House, 6 and 7 here in Washington County. We are looking for a candidate for State Senate. We're also looking for candidates for school boards. So please, if you can, even lend your name to be on the ballot so your neighbors know that there are some people here who are fighting for our kids in our state. That was number one. Number two, I didn't see any hand raised for that one, so I hope you all raise your hand for the next one. We need to convert those signs into stash, right? We need cash. It's the reality of politics in the US and here at the local level as well. We cannot organize if we don't have the means. When I said we've been working really hard to build the structure, we now have a headquarters. We now have all of the systems in place and the technology in place to facilitate candidates going and fighting for all of us. But that can only be sustained, especially if we got another 10 years ahead of us, if we have the cash. So you will see in your programs at the back some QR codes. Please go visit and give what you can. Even $5 helps, big time, okay? So we really need your help. If you're not gonna be a candidate, please be a donor, a contributor that's going to help us build our candidate fund. One of the things we're very proud to do in Washington County is that we have a fund that we redistribute to all candidates at the state or under. Apologies to you all, but you're federal, so we can't give you money. But for the others here at the local level, we can. And obviously, we encourage you to support all of these candidates as well. It's so important because on the other side, they're getting tens of thousands of dollars from all of those greedy corporations. But we do have a fighting chance. When I ran for State House, I raised a ton of money, and we made a difference because we increased our share. We got more voters to go to the polls and vote for a Democrat. We can do that at every level here. So I'm counting on you to scan that QR code, make the donation that you can, tell your neighbors, and from there, we will continue knocking on doors, talking to our neighbors, signing petitions, and making sure that everybody is organizing in our community. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here. Thank you, Terrell, for all the amazing work you do. And thank you all for coming today. We will